Hi guys, my name is Nonima Tigela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to talk about the so-called freedom that uGwabini got and lost the 2,000 Rand in the mix of it all. Um, Before we do that, guys, please make sure you do not forget to like, to share, to comment, and most importantly, please subscribe on the channel. Please subscribe. I know we've reached my target of 15K subscribers, but please let's continue to grow the channel. Now, also, in all these shocking revelations from Gwabini, Meyiwa trial, since the Meyiwa trial took another darker, dirtier turn that we saw or we heard of, because what Gwabini revealed, it's not a procedural irregularity, it's not a mistake, it's a criminal transaction executed in the shadows of justice system. In the shadows of justice system. Under cross-examination, Gwabini calmly dropped a bomb. He was told he needed to pay 2,000 for bail before he ever saw a courtroom. Mnisi asked, so Mokgane told you the court needs 2,000 before you appear? Gwabini, yes. He handed over the money. No receipt, no paperwork, no explanation, and suddenly he was free. That is not bail. That is extortion wearing a badge. That is extortion. We all know this. Let's be very clear. You cannot pay bail outside a court process. You cannot pay bail to an officer. You cannot release. You cannot be released without documentation. This is the definition of corruption, defining the ends of justice, abuse of authority. Any officer involved in such a transaction is not enforcing the law. They are profiting from it. That is what Mokgane did there. That's what it means. And that alone, if Gwabini's release was bought, then what else was? His statement, his cooperation, his silence. When money enters the story, so does cohesion. And cohesion contaminates everything it touches. In a case already drowning in allegations of manipulation, intimidation, and fabrication, this 2,000 Rand revelation is not something small. It is explosive. In this trial, already teetering on the edge of collapse, this is yet another loose thread, and if pulled, the entire garment may unravel. Because what do you mean that a police officer is the one that is going to pay for Gwabini's bail? Why didn't the people of Gwabini be the one that are paying? Why did Gwabini not appear in court? Where is the paperwork? Where is the receipt that says he paid for the bail? Who paid for the bail? I don't know. I don't know, man. So they forced him to pay 2,000 Rand in cash to an officer before appearing in court, and then they released him without any bail paperwork, receipt, or documentation. Those are red flags. Red flags. Illegal bail procedure, corruption by officers, potential coercion, tainted voluntariness, possible defeating the ends of justice. Criminal Procedure Act does not agree with this. And that is what the defense exposes again. Another crack in the state's case, and it's getting harder to pretend these aren't issues that are burning and failures in that courtroom. These are serious allegations. And then we must pretend as if they never happened? No, they actually happened. They actually happened. It was just one of those it was just one of those scary situations. And remember, it was COVID. And I hope this gets investigated. IPID, this is where he comes in to investigate its police officers. Its police officers. In South Africa, justice is meant to be blind, but sometimes it looks the other way. So the revelation inside the Senzo Meyiwa trial exposes something far deeper than a murder case. It reveals a justice system showing its cracks in broad daylight. In the heart of the High Court, a soft-spoken man takes the stand. His name is Sifiso Gwabini Zungu. He was never supposed to be central to the Meyiwa saga, but today his story reshapes everything. At dimly lit police office, Gwabini sits confused. An officer looms over him. That is what was happening. So Umukhane is also not innocent, guys. He is so not innocent. The things that he did to people and acted as if he did not participate. No, he was there. He was told to pay 2,000 rand in cash to secure his release, Ugwabini. Not to a clerk, not in a courtroom, but directly to an officer. No receipt, no official form, no bail hearing, just money and then freedom. Imagine that. Imagine that. The bail in South Africa is simple and strictly controlled. You appear in court and the magistrate hears the facts, a ruling is made, paperwork is filed, a receipt is issued. What happened to Gwabini was none of those things. It was none of those things. I'm sure legal experts call it extortion, a criminal transaction disguised as procedure, and to an unknowing man, one that points to a justice system where power, not law, dictates outcome. This wasn't bail. It was a private exchange inside a police ecosystem described by multiple witnesses as conceived, intimidating and manipulation that is playing place. This is impossible within the law. You cannot pay bail to a police officer. You cannot be freed without documentation. What Gwabini described is a straight corruption, nothing else. That was corruption. 2,000 rand gone. Paperwork absent, freedom purchased. Gwabini walks home to the hostel confused but relieved because they released him after being beaten up. But he doesn't know it yet, but this moment, the moment will come, will become evidence, is one of South Africa's most scrutinized trials. He never knew that one day he will be able to come and speak about this. He never knew. He never thought about it that way. The montage of prior testimonies, Ntanzi described torture. Muzi Sibiya described the false statement and torture. Zungu Senior contradicting the state. Gininda's procedural-driven investigation. Mukhula's alleged threats. Those are patterns that are happening or that emerged in the trial, being told by people that suffered. One testimony alone can be dismissed, but a pattern that becomes impossible to ignore. Across witnesses, across years, the same theme echoes: coercion, fear, manipulation, and now money is involved. What does it mean when an ordinary citizen claims they were threatened, tortured, or financially extorted by those meant to protect them? What happens when the guardians of justice become the gatekeepers of a hidden economy? And what does that do to a murder investigation already drawn in contradictions? What does that do? What does it say? This revelation of the 2000 illegal bail strikes at the core of the reliability of every statement taken, because if an officer is willing to accept cash under the table, what else are they willing to do? Fabricate statements, manipulate witnesses, pressure confessions. When money enters the chain, everything becomes suspicious. Every statement, every arrest, every process. This isn't just a small detail. This is not just a small detail. The state's case, once held together by a fragile narrative, appears to be fraying. Pull one thread like 2000 bail, and the seams begin to tear. Behind the legal jargon, the corruption, the coercion, it's a human being, a man who says he paid his last 2000, not for justice, but for survival. He needed to survive. The question now is simple. If this was bail, what else in the investigation was an illusion? In the search for Senzo Meyiwa's killer, are we uncovering the truth or a system built on concealment? What is happening? The one thing that we must always remember is that the truth does not hide forever. You can buy time and hide it, but it will come out when the time comes. When the time comes, it will come out. Let's talk a comment section. I want to hear your views. Please drop them. Tell me, what are your thoughts when it comes to this? Because what a wow. Thank you so much. I'll see you on our next video. Bye-bye.